Hello and welcome back. Sorry that this review is a bit late. I got hit with a really bad cold and to be honest, I'm still kind of sick. So if I randomly sound like I'm trying to inhale the microphone, that's why. But today we're finally talking about The Amazing Digital Circus episode 9. But before we start, some of you didn't listen to the fish. I'm disappointed. The fish literally warned you. To the basement you go. But before all of that, as most of you know, I already did a spoiler-free review right after I got out of the theater. But today, we're diving headfirst into spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen episode yet, this is your last chance. Leave, shoo, go watch it. Seriously. Alright, last chance. Let's get right into this. So one of the big things I want to talk about is Jax's abstraction. A lot of people are upset that it happened off screen. However, I think it really makes sense more when you think about who Jax is as a character. When he's not masking, being the funny guy, the sarcastic guy, he hides. So honestly, it made perfect sense that he'd go off by himself while abstracting. That's exactly what Jax does. He pushes everyone away until there's nobody left to help him. And when Gangle cries over Jax, I think it's important to note that I don't think she's actually crying over Jax. Let me explain. I think that she's crying over this situation. Yes, Jax was horrible to her, and I totally understood at first why she couldn't cry. But she ultimately did because she saw how Pomni felt, and of course, how the idea of abstracting is downright horrifying. And remember, Pomni and Gangle are friends, and as friends, Gangle saw how hurt Pomni was, and I think she cried, not for Jax, but for Pomni. Then about Caine's resurrection, I feel it was deserved, mainly because unlike a lot of villains or antagonists, Caine actually tried. He just didn't understand why he wasn't being accepted. And he really was trying. Now, did Caine mess up? Oh, absolutely. Spectacularly, in fact. To be perfectly honest, if there was an Olympic event for making things dramatically worse while trying to make them better, Caine would take home the gold every time. And then he'd accidentally set the stadium on fire and apologize while handing everyone a gift basket with assorted soaps. Anyway, throughout the series, we've seen Caine desperately try to keep everyone entertained, keep everyone happy, keep the circus running, and after everything that happened in episode 7, he finally hit a breaking point. Seeing him come back felt like watching someone who completely broke under pressure get a second chance. Although I was kind of surprised, after Caine came back, I kind of expected Jax would come back too. The show had already crossed the line of, well, apparently death is negotiable now, and I thought they might pull the same trick twice. Instead, they committed to Jax's abstraction, which made the ending hit a lot harder. I feel like Pomni, Zooble, Ragatha, Caine, and Gangle were caught off guard as much as we were. I was so happy that we finally got to see what happened between him, Ribbit, and Kaufmo. And it's just a shame that his own unhealthy coping mechanisms managed not only to cause his ultimate abstraction, but the abstraction of both of his friends. All because the dumb rabbit couldn't risk to be open, and the one time he was, he ended up isolating his best friend and causing a tornado of destruction that, when you really look at it, could have been solved if he would have been brave enough to accept who he is and accept friendship. But no! The emotionally constipated rabbit had to keep pretending everything was fine. But moving on, I will say this as someone who loves old school animation, I absolutely loved the Looney Tunes and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit references. That was extremely cool. And speaking of cool things, I absolutely loved how Caine and the gang came to Pomni's rescue to help her with Jax. I was surprised that even Zooble and Gangle helped. Then at the end, when Caine tells them that he's sorry and that he wants to make it up to them, he shows them who they are in the macroverse, in the outside world. And I think that really showed how sorry he really was. He had no real understanding before, but once he did, he desperately tried to make things better. Okay, now I've heard people saying that this is definitely the end, but I've also heard people saying that there's absolutely going to be another season. Personally, I think there's still plenty of story left to tell. I definitely think there could easily be one or more seasons. One with the current cast, trying to live in the circus while trying to fix the abstracted characters, and another would be a prequel. but I can only hope. I don't actually think that the message of the Amazing Digital Circus is just be happy with your situation. I think it's more about connection. Every character is scared. Every character is trying to survive in their own way. The moments that matter most aren't the adventures, they're the moments in between, where someone reaches out. Pomni reaching out to Kinger, Ragatha helping Pomni, Gangle unmasking, Zooble finally opening up, and it's important to note that the people who suffer the most are usually the people trying to carry everything by themselves. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't fixing the problem, it's letting someone help you carry it. And well, what did you think about this episode? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe and hit all of the buttons. And of course, make sure to go on over and subscribe to my awesome husband's channel, Cosas Partner. It's a Spanish-speaking channel that does giving how-tos, reviews, unboxings, interviews, and more. I will have his links down in the description below, and well, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!
Goodbye.